Up, everyone? We are here and we're above the cafe right now. It's just kind of cool. Rob's getting nostalgic because he walked in here and said this was a bank, and you're trying to re-envision what it looked like here in the changeover of Cafe Kubal, taking over this building and really making it beautiful and really incredible here on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. And we are, and some people I feel like downstairs are like, God, hello. But it's cool being here at Cafe Kubal, and we're hanging out with you on Facebook Live on Facebook.com/live-now-DT. We're on site, on location at a Cafe Kubal location every single month. They're 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, as well as 208 North Townsend Street, where Kubal Co-works is, and the podcast headquarters, as well as on their 401 South Salina Street location here on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. And they're back inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. They were allowed to reopen because they had to close during COVID. So plenty of locations for you, and a lot of great coffee no matter where you go, and tea, and I get my chai tea here. So I'm happy to have you back here, Rob.
Almost definitely, and I think this is the first time we've ever done a show to where you didn't introduce me as Robert Drummond, the football player, the CFL, the NFL. That it's just gotten to the point where it's just me. Yeah. And I appreciate that from the simple fact that I never try and go out there and try and be something that I'm not. It's like I love people that see me as Robert Drummond, the individual, not Robert Drummond, the athlete. Because that's a tough burden to bear. But it's also pleasant for me just to be myself. I always enjoy just being myself. Just chopping it up with everybody, being a good person, being the guy next door. Just being an average person. But don't see me as the athlete. If you ever see me in the street, just talk to me as a regular person, and I'll greet you the same way.
And that's the thing. I mean, you have the pleasantries of Syracuse, CFL, and NFL, but for me, and this is what I love about what I do, and I've had this conversation all throughout the week, it's about relationships.
Yes.
And the people that know how to build them. I mean, you and I have been friends since the day we met almost 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, to the world, I say, hey, this is Rob, and he played in the NFL, played in the CFL, played for Syracuse. But what I know it is, hey, this is Rob that if and when I ever get married again, he'll be standing up next to me. This is the guy that I would take a bullet for. I mean, there's a different, you're on a very short list of people that if someone came in and said, I want to meet your family, they came into Syracuse and said, I want to meet the people closest to you, you would be at the table, and that to me means more than anything. I don't want to be known as the sportscaster. You don't want to be known as a football player. No. It's Dan and Rob, so.
Yeah, I mean, is that our platform for running for president in 2024?
I told you we're running. I already put it out there. The day that the election happened, I put Tortora 2024. I mean, you and I talked about that. We have a platform. We have a means of doing it, and I don't think the world's ready for it. And I think you and I agreed that we would probably be shot at the most.
I mean, for me, just watching the elections and just watching the presidency over the past, I'll say 20 years. I mean, it's just what a stressful job. I mean, I give those guys, the vice president and president alike, a lot of credit, because damn if you do, damn if you don't. You can't please everybody. Unfortunately, we live in a country that just where it's just everybody wants perfection, and that's just unattainable. Bush did the best he could. Clinton did the best he could. Trump did the best he could. Obama did the best he could. Biden's doing the best he can. It's like, what do people want? It's just like, give these guys a break and cut them some slack. It's got to be a stressful job trying to juggle so much. They're not just juggling their personal affairs. They're juggling the affairs of over 300 million Americans in the United States. So cut these guys some slack. And I always say, Donald Trump, I say this all the time, if he had just shut his mouth, he would have got reelected. But he had to be the center of attention. It had to be about him. And it's just like, dude, that's not what it's about. We have people out there that are struggling. Just show them that you can be a leader just by being quiet and just being humble and just being respectful and move forward. That's all people want. This pandemic has given me a time to sit back and reflect and just watch people and just realize that, holy smoke, a lot of people are struggling, just to survive. A lot of people don't want to be great. They just want to wake up each day and have a meal and have 3 meals to eat in their body. Have a warm roof, over their head, and have some place they can go, they can call work. They don't want the world. They want the bare essentials, and all we as a society should just be pleading to do is give these people the bare essentials. I reflect every morning I wake up, because I'm always thankful when I wake up that God has given me another day. Upon saying that, I say to myself, what can I do today to improve the lives of somebody else? Because I was fortunate enough to wake up. God gave me a chance to wake up. So how can I improve the lives of someone else? So I go out there and I work as hard as I possibly can to be a better person, be a good person, I don't completely understand what Christian means, because I see so many people out there that call themselves Christian, but then they sit there and just hate this person, hate that person. And I'm like, no, that's not me, because I don't hate anybody on this planet. But I also go out there, and I just try and be what I consider a good person. And I teach my children the same thing. Just go out there and be a good person. Make someone smile during the day, and you've accomplished something during the day. And it's just the state of affairs I see going on in this country. It's just sad to watch, especially after coming off a pandemic. The virus is not real. The virus is real. It's like, come on. At some point, we all have to come together, realize what's going on, and just get along. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening in my lifetime.
I think we live in a world where people have been fighting for so long they don't even remember what they're fighting for. They don't even remember.
They're selfish. All they care about is their feelings at the moment, at that time. It's just what they feel about. They don't feel empathy towards others. And unfortunately, I can feel empathy because my father was murdered. So it's like I don't. To get angry is it's futile. It's a waste of time, a waste of energy. So I don't get angry. So I turn all that negative energy that I ever feel into something positive. And I use it as energy to drive me every single day. So it'll drive me. It'll be my lifeline until the day I die. So I never get angry at the simple fact. Even the guy that murdered my father, I still, I forgave him. Does it hurt? It still hurts. Sometimes I ask myself, why? Why would you forgive somebody who had that much evil in his heart? But it's like, it's not my job to judge him. Who's going to judge him? God. And I do believe in God. I may not be religious, but I do believe in God.
And that's the thing. I think trying to live in a world where, and I tell people all the time, people listen to the show, believe in different things, but in my belief and everything that I know, believing in not believing in God and taking God out of stuff, it seems to change things. And the more you take it out of society, take God out of society crumbles. So, I think people are going to believe what they want to believe, and they're going to do what they want to do, but there's a direct correlation and a parallel of the more we take God out, the farther we have dropped. So, I tell people all the time, you all listen, believe what you want to believe, you listen to the show, some of you believe what I believe, some of you don't. But the reality of it all to me is I believe in something bigger than myself. I believe in God. I know what it is to be a Christian. I know what it is to have that. And I know what it is to treat people with goodness and respect. It's not hard to be a good person. They actually tell you that it takes more.
You would be surprised.
I'm not though.
Really would.
But
my goodness.
But the thing is it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. You actually have to work harder to be upset. And I think that people need to really pay attention to that. Like, I see people that are mad and they have a problem for every solution, and I just see that they have to wake up in the morning, and I see people that do it now, that I know very well, that try to stay. You have to try to stay angry. And I don't know why you would put so much energy into being unhappy.
You know what? Over the years, I'll be 54 this year, June 21st. And by the grace of God, that's an accomplishment. But in all my years of just watching, I just realized that misery loves company. When people go out there and they're miserable in their lives, they're miserable in their daily their briefings, they're miserable in everything about their whole aura of how they're living. They love to have people join them. They don't want to be by themselves, so they'll bring everybody else down. But I'm just not that type of person. No matter how miserable, no matter how sad, no matter how hurt I may be. Some mornings I wake up and I just start crying because I miss my father. But I'll never bring anybody else down. I gotta go out there and I have thousands of kids that look up to me. I have 1,000 people that respect me, that look up to me. So I have to go out there and be encouragement for them. And until the day I die, that's what I choose to do. I choose to be happy rather than be sad. Because it's a better life.
and we had somebody come in and say this. Clifford said, "So did I, Rob. Forgive the one who killed my son. My heart is at peace."
I know Cliff's a great guy, with his campaign, going around the city of Syracuse, and just doing the positive things, just to try and inspire these young youths, if that's a word, out there who are just lost at some point. It's like, I can only imagine what it is to take a life of someone else for no other reason than the simple fact that I'm mad at them, or they have sneakers I want, or they have more money than me, or it's jealousy. Why? Because you not only affect that individual that you're attacking, you affect his entire family for generations. It's just for me. I do a good job as a father trying to shield my sons from the simple fact that their grandfather was murdered. But you know what? I shouldn't have to do that, and it was over nothing, over gang wars, So at one point in society, I hope in my lifetime that these young men and women, go out there and find it within themselves to just be, as you said before, just be good human beings. For me, trying to understand people is a difficult thing because I go back and forth. I'm not gonna lie, I get hot and cold. I'll get angry, I'll get upset. I'll get angry, I'll be okay. I'll get angry, I'll be okay. Just trying to figure out the mindset of people and why they do what they do. Humans are an intrinsic, interesting, aberration of God. Some people are born to do good. Some people are born to just do bad. But trying to figure it out and trying to find the in between is just a scary thing. At any given time, to send my children to school to worry about some kid coming in and with a gun, having a bad day, just shooting up the school. It's just like, why? So as adults, as educators, as mentors, the people who these kids look up to, we have to instill in them every day what it is we learned back in the 50s, 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, during the good times where all this wasn't going on. It's 2021. It's a different era of young adolescents growing up. And it's going to take us. We're looking for the answers in these young adults. We have to be that answer. We have to be that buffer to tell them this is how it needs to be done. Older adults, these kids, they sit here and they watch these politicians argue back and forth, bicker back and forth, Democrat, Republican, QAnon, Black Lives Matter, whatever it may be. All they see is bickering. So what do you think they're going to gravitate toward and do themselves? They're going to do the exact same thing. So until we change as the educators, as the influential people in society that's educating these kids, they're not going to change. So we can't get mad at them for reacting to what it is we're doing ourselves. Yeah. And that's one thing I always preach. So I go out there each and every single day and I try and preach a positive message as much as I can to these kids. It's okay to have an opinion, but just don't go out there and hurt anybody. An opinion is nothing. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. That's your thought process. That's what you do. But as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not enabling anybody, as long as you're not oppressing anybody or defaming anybody, it's okay to have an opinion. But just go out there and try and be a good person and try and inspire someone each day. That's my one goal I tell my children. Inspire someone to be, whether it be a younger person than you or an older person than you, inspire someone each day to be a better person. And you will accomplish something that God wants.
And it's beautiful that, everybody knows Wake Up Calls. We're here at Cafe Kubal on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius.
You can see that?
What? See what?
The writing on that.
Yeah, I can read the writing.
I'm getting old. I used to have better than 20. I was like 10-10 vision. They said I was like eagle eyes, but now I need readers.
It's also 343 Fayette Street, Manlius. It's in the brain. Cafe Kubal. It's in my life. So but Wake Up Call is it was named. I got asked why I named it Wake Up Call. And I said, the easy way to look at it is it's a morning show, but, it's a show that has specials all throughout the day. There's different things that happen. It's called Wake Up Call because that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be a call to action, to be positive, to be good, to wake up from what you're doing and to really think about it and reflect, to not just keep going down a path because that's the path you've been on forever, but to ask yourself, why am I on this path? What am I doing? What am I trying to achieve? I always ask people when they do hurtful things to me or somebody else, I always say, what's your end game? What's your hope? What are you trying to achieve? Because what I'm telling you you're going to achieve is not good. So, the tagline of Wake Up Call has always been where sports meets life. It's a way of taking something that people love, which is sports, which is untainted in a lot of ways still, because you can watch the games and shut your brain off. But at the same time, it's something that makes complete strangers talk to each other. Where sports meets life is the tagline of Wake Up Call, because it's taking something that we know and it's moving it into life. And I use this show to bring you humility and community, comedy, the sanctity of a friendship, the reality of, on my show at least, in my world, what you see is what you get. As you know, my voice isn't different or off the air. I'm not, so like there's none of that. There's no embellishment. There's no changing. There's no, I say this on the air, but I don't actually believe it. Like my world doesn't have prejudice, doesn't have sexism, doesn't have racism, doesn't have bigotry, doesn't have, you're different than me and I don't like it. What we've essentially done in this world is we've told people, your opinion needs to be respected, but you don't have to respect anybody else's, which is the definition of hypocrisy,
Yeah.
where, somebody can tell me that I'm wrong and this is how they feel, and I automatically have to follow them and leave everything I know, and I'm not allowed to tell them that I have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So if everybody has an opinion but nobody has an opinion, who has an opinion?
That is true.
And so you and I met through this world of sports, but we became friends. And I remember the day. I remember the bench. I remember it was dark. It was at night. It was probably 10 o'clock. And I did an interview with you before I left the event. And I remember that you looked in the camera and you looked so hard. You looked like so just real and angry. And yet, through all of that, I saw this human being where I walked away from it. And I remember shaking my head, going in my car, going, I like that guy. I just feel like I gotta be that guy's friend. I gotta know Rob. I gotta be around him. And I think I called you like a day or so later and was like, hey, I really appreciate that. I like you as a person. And you're like, I like you too. I don't like talking to media. I'll talk to you. And then from there, this is the beauty of life. This is what people don't see. Regardless of color, regardless of age, regardless of where you grew up, where I grew up, the time period, religion, whatever, you and I became friends because we genuinely try to be good people. We saw that there was an honest person on the other side of it. And I would love you if you're 3 feet tall, 7 feet tall, blue, brown, purple, orange, doesn't matter, whatever religion, whatever background, I love Robert Drummond. Mm-hmm. And I think that in the almost decade that we've done this, we have only sought, through the world of where sports meets life, to talk about a bunch of different topics in an effort and a hope that the underlying message is hopefully that we reach out to somebody in a positive way and we make their life a little bit better, or we let them know that they're not alone.
I completely agree. The one thing, and why I told you that, as far as I like you as a media personality, is for the simple fact that I've had a microphone and a camera like this in front of my face for, oh my gosh, since high school, going forward, and I know how manipulative, and how condescending and how snide and just backstabbing the media can be, when you're giving an interview. Because I've experienced it myself, So when you get in front of someone who asks you questions that are not just trying to just get a story, but trying to find out the real person, that I have more respect for interviewers, like that, from the simple fact that you have no idea what's going on in the life of someone that you're interviewing. So at any given point, anybody that ever interviews me, I can sit here and tell you as a man, it's like, there's some mornings I wake up and I'm just crying in tears because I miss my father every single day. It hurts like hell. And I tell everybody, imagine someone you love with all your heart and soul being murdered. It's like Clifford said, his son was murdered. It hurts. It hurts so much. And you just try and find compassion in your heart, just to try and be a good person and not go to the dark side, because it's so easy to go to the dark side and be a bad person. Anybody it's ever happened to, I can't sit here and fault them if they ever go out there and do something bad, because I get it. I understand. It takes so much energy and so much power and so much struggle just to be able to go out there and just get through a day, just to be trying to function and just be happy, because it's sad. It's depressing. You have anxiety. You know, it's just all over the place. But you know what? When you realize that God wants you to be the bigger person. God wants you to be the more understanding person. God wants you to be that person that goes out there, especially with myself, and that's all I can speak of. And be that person that people look up to, that inspires them to go out there and be better people. That's what I choose to do. I have 2 young sons that look up to me and love me with all their heart because I know how much I love them. You know, and I call them my guardian angels. When I named them after our guardian angels, Raphael, an archangel, and actually Jaden, but his middle name is Michael, another archangel. You know, and they just inspire me every single day to go out there and be a better person, not just for myself. You know, because I always say, I'm over 50, so I'm on the other side of the hill now. I'm coasting down, enjoying life. You know, but I have to inspire a younger generation to go out there, be more positive, be better people. Just go out there and hopefully give them inspiration to just make this world a better place. And I hope I can see that before I pass. You know, but I'm going to do everything in my power until I can. And as I said before, the pain I feel for my father being murdered, I use as energy to go out there and do positive things.
You know, Rob, and you come from a place of there is no greater tragedy than to lose somebody like that.
It hurts.
You know,
it hurts. I'm just being honest. I mean, the one thing about me, I'm always brutally honest. I pull no punches with anybody. If I don't like you, I'll tell you I don't like you.
I know what Rob's gonna say before. I told him one time that I didn't tell him about somebody I dated because I knew what Rob was gonna say. So I think the last thing I told you recently was if I'm seeing somebody.
I don't get offended when people don't tell me things personally that I don't respect. I mean, because they know me. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And
that's why you're in my corner, because I have no yes people. Yeah. I have people that if and when we did run for president and VP, like I know that you would tell me the truth.
You're gonna hear the brutal, honest truth from me. I mean, you may not like it, but it's a brutal, honest truth from me.
Right, and it's real, and I feel like I've held that bargain too with you. I've always told you the truth. I've always been real. I've always been like, because I don't know, because the thing is, if I lied or if I embellished or if I did something, you know me. Yeah. I would hang up the phone, call you right back, and go, I didn't mean that. Like, because I can't live with somebody thinking something's not true.
You don't think I already know? When you're quiet, when you're mute about something, I'm like, Dan's dating somebody he doesn't want to tell me. I already know. I already know.
Yeah. And
he'll tell me when he's ready.
I'd be like, you know what? I respected you so much more than me. I respected you in the last one so much. I was like, I'm not even gonna let Rob know about this crazy.
Do you know how many times? Oh my God!
I'm not gonna let Rob know about this.
I've sat there and listened to you rant, and I've just listened and listened and listened and listened. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I could have told you that, but you don't listen to me. I'll let you. Here's my thing. I'll let you figure it out.
Yeah,
that's life. I'll let you figure it out.
But this last one, it was short-lived, and I didn't even involve you because the moment that I opened my mouth and I said, Rob, she said this, you'd be like, man.
So, I mean, and who was I talking to yesterday? I think I was talking to Raphael, that's my eldest son, and I told him, it's like, you know what, son? The greatest wins I've ever had in life have been the mistakes I've made. Yeah. And the simple fact of I can always correct a mistake and learn from it. Yeah. You know, and that's what life is about. It's like, you know, don't get down on yourself because you don't win a race, or you don't win a game, or you don't win in love, or you don't win in business. It's like you can always correct those things. Those are small speed bumps in the game of life. Go out there, just smile, be happy, stand up, dust yourself off, and go at it again. If someone slaps you, you know, just get up, dust yourself off, you know, and go out, you know, and try and do whatever you were again. If you take that man's life or you retaliate against that man, it makes you no better than that person right there. Because now you're not setting an example. Let him go live that treacherous life, because eventually he's going to either end up in jail or dead. But you're going to still go out there and be a successful, positive person who's inspiring others to do well because you decided to get back up, not retaliate, and go back out there and be a positive person. If I decided to retaliate, I'd either be dead or in jail now for my father's murder. Yeah. But I choose not to. I choose to be a positive influence, a positive role model in this community, go out there and do the best things I possibly can to make this community, to make children, to make this society better. And that's what I'll do until the day I die. You know, and that's the only thing that we can do. There's a statement by, and I think it was Bob Marley, and it's in the movie I Am Legend, and I know you and I like movies, and it was a statement of Bob Marley had gotten shot, and
he was laying in a hospital bed. He was supposed to perform, and he got shot at this. You know, it was like it was kind of like
I never knew that.
it was either him or his father, but I feel like somebody got shot, and so I want to say it was his dad, but they interviewed him. He was in a hospital bed, could have died, shot in the leg, and he came there 3 days later, and he's all bandaged up. And not only was he speaking, he was performing. And they asked him after the fact, and it's the theme around it. They looked at him, they had the camera in his face, and they said, "Why are you here?" He said, "Aren't you scared? Aren't you afraid that someone's going to shoot you again? Aren't you in pain?" And he looked into the camera and said, "Everybody that's trying to make the world a bad place never takes a day off.
Yeah.
So how can I?"
Yeah.
You know, and I think you and I, for how, you know, the many figurative ways of speaking, we've been shot a million times. We got bullet holes everywhere, but we still get up. You know that I've called you a million times saying, "Rob, I've been treated like this, this, and this, and it doesn't make sense." And you've been treated the same way, and it don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, there's days where you wake up and people don't treat you right because of the color of your skin.
Yeah.
There's days where I wake up, I follow every rule, and I got an email telling me I did something wrong. And the only thing that I've learned is if it's not constructive, if it's not meant to help, if it's any type of hate speech, it doesn't come from there. And if it doesn't come from there, I don't need to read the message.
It's sad, you know, that all I've accomplished, all I've done, all I try and do, you know, henceforth and going forward, you know, that in today's society, at any given moment, any given time, any given place, anywhere, I can be defined by the color of my skin.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't change that, nor would I ever change that, because I'm proud of who I am, what I've accomplished, and what I'm doing. But for someone to just judge me, no matter, not even knowing me, based off the color of my skin, and either shoot me or put a knee on my neck, or, you know, or shoot me in my sleep, you know, when I'm laying in the bed, you know, on a no-knock raid, it's just like, at some point, become a human being. And by that I mean, it's just like, you know, I have no intention, and I was explaining this to, like, just other than you, I talk to schools and, you know, and in Zoom groups and people all across the country. I'm like, at some point, I lay on my puppies, and then it gets to the point where I see them start to squirm, and I see them start to, you know, just yell, not loud or anything, and I know to get off them because they're in distress. When someone's distressed, you help them. You try and find out what they are. A Klansman could be laying down in front of me, and if something is going wrong and I see him distressed, I'd still try and help him to save a life because he's a human being. And to just sit there and watch a man just sit there nonchalantly with his hands in his pocket, you know, with his knee on a man's neck, until he screaming for his life, screaming for his mother. And every I don't care what they say, every child is a mama's boy. They are, you know, and the scream for your mother is something that's just a connection between the umbilical cord that your mother kept you alive for 10 months, because most people don't know. I mean, we're inside of a woman's womb for 10 months. You know, it's just, to me, it's a sad state of affairs that we live in a world like this. And this guy's trying to get away with what completely was a murder, from the simple fact that, you know, okay, I'd have more respect if he took his knee off his neck and just gave him care to see if he was okay. But he didn't. And that's the mindset of someone filled with hate. Why? I can never be filled with hate. I don't have a hateful bone in the body. I may not like you. I may disagree with you. I may complain. Yeah. But I'll never hate anybody. It takes too much energy. It takes too much.
Well, my grandma said it's too strong of a word.
It's way too strong of a word.
G-Mom always said you can dislike something with a passion.
Yeah.
But don't ever hate it, because she said you can't come back from it.
I dislike the Cowboys.
With a passion.
With a passion.
You wildin' on the Cowboys.
But you know what, though? I do not hate the Cowboys, and if anything would ever happen to where they needed me, I'd be there for them 100%. No matter what player it is, it's like, no, you know why? Because they're human beings.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're
I'm not a fan of LeBron James, but if he needed me, I'm there.
I don't mind LeBron, you know.
He's talented.
I think he's a little dramatic, you know, but that's okay, you know. But he's okay to me. But I support LeBron James, but I support anybody trying to do good in this world.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
If there was one parachute on a plane and it was going down, and LeBron and I were on the plane, I'd throw it to him and I'd hope that he'd grab onto me or something like that, but I'd let him live.
You better than me. I got that parachute, I'm out. Deuces, Brian.
Hope
you make it rough.
I'm gonna be jumping on Rob's back, being like, "Why'd you do this to us?"
What's that new cartoon he coming out with? The Michael Jordan?
Space Jam.
Yeah. I saw you floating in Space Jam. Maybe you can float to the ground. I got this parachute, bro. Bye.
Oh my goodness, what do we get here? Boom! Sports just meant life. I just like the Cowboys. Yeah, there you go. So, let me bring it to sports for a second because I find that the Cowboys may have made.
Do we really have to talk about that?
Yeah, it's going to make you happy. You should know me well enough to know that you got to wait for the hook. So, Dallas at the 10th pick, right?
Yes.
I thought they were going to take Patrick Surtain the second.
He was gone.
And he went at 9. But in the mock draft, I had him going at 10. So he goes to the Denver Broncos, right? So he goes at 9. And the Mike Sofka and I talked about this on the show. My reality at that point was that maybe Dallas said, you know what, our guy is gone. Let's trade back. Let's regroup. Let's not just make like an emotional pick. So they trade the pick to Philly, right? Mm-hmm. Philly drafts Devontae Smith, wide receiver.
That shocked me that they traded the pick to Philly, inner rival divisional foe.
Right.
That surprised me. And
that's where I'm going is, you don't like the Cowboys, but this will make you happy. The Cowboys trade their pick to Philly. They flip 10 with 12, and Philly gets Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, Alabama wide receiver. I know that people are worried about his size, and how skinny he is and whatnot, but here's the thing. Could Dallas be almost like a year to 5 years from now, could they be kicking themselves that they traded this pick to Philly for Devontae, and now they have to cover Devontae? So could this essentially be a thing where Dallas is like, oh my gosh, why did we do that?
I mean, I understand why they did that, because at the time coming into the 10th pick, they knew that the Giants were probably going to take Devontae Smith, so that was a no-brainer, but for them to move, because they weren't after receiver. The Giants, they got Galladay in free agency, I think a couple other receivers that they have in their roster.
They pulled in Kadarius Toney at 20.
Yep. So
which is a great pick.
Receiver that they weren't looking, and on the board for them. What is Dallas's weaknesses right now? It's defense,
They got a bunch of receivers and they've paid them. So.
And the two top people on their board at the time were Micah, and Patrick Surtain.
Well, I think Micah at that point was the best available player in the draft.
So for them to move back and get an additional third-round pick, which is valued, was a no-brainer for them.
And get Micah.
They could care less. But here's the thing: either the Eagles or the Giants, we're going to get Devontae. So one of these two teams is going to get Devontae. So if I can pick up a third-round draft choice, and that, hey, that's value. So that was a smart move by them. If it comes back to haunt them, it would have came back to haunt them with the Giants anyway, because the Giants were going to take Devontae Smith.
Yeah, and I think in the first 3 picks, because I did my first ever mock draft where we drafted in the Fantasy Football Power Hour presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, and when we did that, we actually showed the draft board, and Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, we were picking all the guys, so you saw it in real time. My first 3 picks were right. Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville, which was not a real big secret.
That's no brainer.
Zach Wilson to the Jets.
That was no brainer either.
But the third one, I picked Trey Lance to go to San Fran because I said, if San Fran's going to make a move from 12 to 3, they're going to make a splash, and something about that move made me think they're gonna take a risk, and they took a big risk with Trey Lance because Trey had 1 season, 28 touchdowns, no interceptions, but he had 1 season.
Yes.
So. What do you think about the fact that San Fran, made this pull for Jimmy Garoppolo? When he was healthy, they went to the Super Bowl, but he hasn't been healthy most of the time, and now they have Trey Lance. Do you think that this is a see you later Jimmy, or is this okay, you know what, we're going to let Jimmy have it this year and Trey's going to learn under him?
I just think in that offense, with Shanahan, I think Trey Lance can be a very exceptional quarterback in an offense. He's very, very mobile.
Yeah.
He's got a quick release. He's tall. He's good he's durable. You know, so I think he can really change the mindset of, you know, and
I
undertaking.
thought North Dakota had like the bat, like, when's the last time Syracuse sent a quarterback to the NFL? But North Dakota State sending everybody.
I mean, you know what? But I mean, but you can also take the, you know, the downside of that. It's like, you know, he doesn't play against the talent, you know, in the SEC or the ACC or the Pac-10, you know, or the Big 12. You know, it's just he's gonna see athletes now that he's never seen before. The speed, right, the size, you know, the explosion.
But look at Josh Allen played at Wyoming, and look at how good he is.
But Wyoming is still, you know, a top tier team, Division I, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so but Josh Allen is killing it right now. So it's gonna be interesting to see this draft class. I think this draft class is gonna, you know, I don't say it'll rival my draft class, the 1989 draft class. You know, that had you know, Troy Aikman, you know, Tony Mandrich, Barry Sanders, Deion Sanders, and Derek Thomas. I mean, out of the first 5 picks, 4 were Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't get draft classes like that. So this draft class it'll be interesting because even at the number 4 pick, you know, Kyle Pitts, what a phenomenal athlete. You know,
I was hoping he would just wow.
I was a bird that just. I hope
that
it's
bird,
okay.
Yeah, that bird just ran into the window.
Wow. I hope it's okay.
When I was, yeah, me too. God bless. I saw a bunch of feathers when I was on vacation, and when I went down the staircase, and I was thinking to myself, did birds get in a fight or something? But yeah, hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just
that made my heart stop.
Well, I'm an animal lover, so.
Yeah.
You know, so
if you didn't know if Rob and I really meant when we said about every life ever, like wow. So, yeah, I just pray that bird is healthy and safe and well, and
yeah, he might just be stunned. It'll be all right.
Jeez.
I don't get shocked or get scared.
No, I'm not scared. I just feel for it. My heart goes out to stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel connected to everything.
That's called empathy. That's called being a human being. Unfortunately, now, if you had your knee in that bird's neck when you were choking it to death, would you still feel that way? You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
99% of humans wouldn't do that. It's at 1%. Yeah. And it's a 1%, unfortunately, that gets you know, galvanized and glorified, you know, in society today. You know, it's just like
the media likes the story.
At some point, be a human being. You know, just walk away. It's not about your toughness. It's not about the importance of you. Think of the importance of others and what they may be going through. You know, people don't get that. You know, and that's a sad thing. That's why I keep to myself because I mean I just see the bad in people, you know, and it's just like that just makes me feel.
You and I feel it.
Like I don't want to be around. I mean, I don't want to be around people. I don't need negativity in my life. I think
you and I both know that.
I don't.
When all else fails, we just. When it does and when it doesn't, we go home to our dogs.
I go run around my puppies, and you know, because they're gonna love me regardless. I mean, they're a chocolate lab, you know, and a yellow lab, you know. And they're just, you know, there's no racism, there's no bigotry, there's no animosity. They fight like cats and dogs, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're still all over.
Yeah, how about that? All the dogs look different, they're different colors, they're different breeds, and they don't care.
They get along.
And they all get along.
Yep.
They all go to the park together.
Yep.
You know, my little puppy sitting on my shoulder, you're 2 big old dogs.
Yeah.
You know, I love that you post the video. You know, the thing is, Rob, a couple of years ago, did not know how to post videos, take videos, asked him to do something for my mom's birthday, and he started the video on saying, is this thing on? And I don't know technology, and I kept it. I didn't edit it.
I still don't know technology.
But you're starting to post stuff on Facebook, like more videos and stuff, and like videos of the dogs, and you got little catchphrases and stuff.
I know how to put the camera on and press the red button that says record and then stop it when I can do that.
Yeah, well, you couldn't when I asked you to do the one video. It was hard for you.
Dude, I still type with these 2 fingers right here.
Yeah.
And I'm efficient and fast.
But I think it's funny that now it was like I see the feed that you have on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my man, Rob growing up.
Hey. At some point, I'd had to become technologically savvy, you know, just to exist in this world.
You have no problem typing.
No, I tell you, I'm one finger bandit. I'm fast.
Yeah. You write FOH a lot, though.
Yeah, I do. Can't say that on a family program. I do. But as I said before, I speak my mind. If people don't like me speaking my mind, then that's their issue, not mine. I'm not changing who I am for nobody. This is who I am. This is just as I would expect no one to change themselves for me,
Yeah.
because for who they are. I always tell people, be yourself, because when you are yourself, you're more natural, you're more comfortable. You feel good in your own skin. If you're, excuse my French, but if you're an ass, be an ass. If you're a good person, be a good person. You know what? Let me judge you for what you show me who you are. You know, that's life.
Well, I tell people all the time, because somebody didn't know that I had Spanish background, that I had Hispanic blood, and they were saying stuff, and my friend Megan went up to him and said, like, hey, just so you know, like, Dan is, and he looked at me with this look of terror on his face, and he goes, I'm sorry. I go, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
I said, you didn't know the company
No.
you keep,
No.
but I said, please continue. I was like,
No.
I said, you are who you are.
Yep.
Like, you decided to be this way, and don't, just because you know,
When people show you who they are,
believe them.
believe them. Believe them.
I took that from you, and hence why I didn't tell you about the last person that I dated.
Because, I mean, people don't have to.
Yeah.
People don't really have to say anything to me for me to figure
They
them
show
out.
you.
You know what? Their mannerisms, their body language, their actions. You know how they gravitate away. I mean, just the things they say, the things they do. It's not hard to figure out who people are. Just watch them.
Yeah,
Just
pay
observe
attention.
them. Pay attention to what they do, how they treat others. You know, what's the saying? I mean, just observe people and how they treat people who can do nothing for them.
Yeah, because you and I realize that. I mean, we've had people in our lives do this. Like, I've had somebody that I thought was a true friend literally say to me, like, you know, personally and professionally, I've kind of exhausted what I needed from you, and I don't need you anymore because you can't give me anything.
I remember that.
And I was like,
Yeah, I remember that.
you know, I was like, but there was things that made me think, this is not my type of person.
Yeah.
And this is not my type of person. And the way they schmooze and they talk and they do this and they that. And then when they did that day, and it was like, you don't know who I am, you don't know how big I am, and you're just this little podcast, I went, wow, this is a 10-year friend speaking this language. So in that moment, I knew that as soon as that conversation was done, I was getting up from that table and I was never coming back to that table.
You know,
You live and learn.
I mean, you know, I know who it is also, but it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a simple fact that people show you who they are, you know, and it's just to say
believe 'em.
to say that in those words. I mean, me personally, I would never say that because karma catches all of us. Don't think karma's like
Yeah.
blood.
Your friend, I've exhausted everything from your friendship. I've taken all the blood that I could. You know,
Yeah.
I never look at a friend like that, like, oh, Rob, you know what? You've brought me these 10 years and I've gotten everything from you, so I'm good here. Like, I'm not a leech, I'm a friend.
People that burn bridges, ooh, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
When you step on necks on the way to the top.
Good luck.
And this is the thing. If you build your way to the top on bodies, those bodies eventually move and they pull you down.
Yeah.
If you build it on real concrete, you don't have to worry about anybody grabbing your leg when you're on the way up. So it's how you build.
Yeah, all I can do is take care of me and mine. You know, the rest out there. I mean, I'll observe from a distance. I'll congratulate, whatever, but I'll keep it moving. You know?
Yeah.
I don't have time for that in my life. As I said before, I don't want the negativity in my life. If you want to be negative, please take that someplace else. Because I ain't got time for it. You know?
The only drama that Rob and I watch is on the big screen in the movie theater.
That's it. I want my drama. My Chicago PD.
I was going to ask you what shows you watch because we don't talk about
Oh my
that.
gosh, with the
Chicago. Do you watch all the Chicago's? Chicago PD.
I watch Chicago PD.
Chicago
Chicago
Fire.
Fire. I don't watch Chicago MD. I mean that's
Yeah.
I mean, but the other
You
ones
watch
I watch.
Grey's Anatomy.
I don't
Station
watch,
19.
I don't watch Grey's Anatomy.
Station 19 is good.
I watch All Rise, which is about lawyers because it makes me think. I really like that show.
Okay.
I watch this FBI series. That's a pretty good show. I watch All American, which is based off a true story, based off a football player played for the Giants. And I watch Black Lightning. I don't know, it's a superhero, but I mean,
I know Black Lightning.
There's shows that just interest me.
When Black Lightning came out, I went and I got some of the old comics because I didn't know anything about it, and I never heard about the character. I like the Flash, but I knew.
And I watch Blue Bloods.
There you go. See, what I knew about DC is I knew growing up, I knew Superman and Batman, but Flash is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So on the channel CW that you watch Black Lightning, Flash is on there. And Flash is my favorite TV show, like my favorite TV show ever.
I used to watch that all the time. I haven't watched it in a while.
I love The Flash. So, and you know, when I did my CNY Pop Festival, that Michelle Harrison, who's the mother of The Flash, and the embodiment of the Speed Force. And she just came back. The coolest thing in the world is like her and I talk, and we built a friendship. Again, you know, it's about relationships. It's not about what people can do for you. And her and I were talking, and I said to her, like, oh, we're supposed to do an interview in March. And she goes, why don't you hold off? Just wait. And I was like, are you coming back to the Flash? And she can't say anything. Yeah. And then I see her come back, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is great. And she goes, wait a couple more episodes so we got more to talk about. And I'm like, word. So like, I'm so excited about that because, you know, it's just cool to know. I mean, like, because the thing is, she bridges that gap. Yes. Like, I want to believe superheroes are real. Yeah. That's the mom of the Flash, and we're friends.
So, you know, it's cool. Meeting her at your festival, she was a nice person. You know,
so down to earth.
Got the best vibes in the world for her. She knew friends of that because she's from, well, you know, Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, I remember I went into the trailer and y'all were sitting there like, oh, you know Bob from Vancouver? And I was like, leave it up to Rob to have 1 degree of separation between, you know, Michelle Harrison, who's from British Columbia.
It was pretty good, but she was down to earth, very
played
easy.
For BC Lions, right? Yeah.
Very, very easy person to talk to. Very easy people to talk to are people who I tend to get along with. People who are, you know, upset with something. If something, I leave it this way. If something's bothering you, leave it home. Don't bring it out into your daily life and just, you know, because when you're miserable and you're out in public, people gravitate. There are infants out there that can feel that. Yeah. It's like, you know, they're like, you know, why take your pain and misery out on somebody else? Because trust me, I've had 23 years of pain and misery from my father's murder. I can take out on everybody every single day, but I don't. Why? It's not their fault, you know, but it's like, you know, I have to be a bigger person. I have to be a better person. I have to understand that people look at me like, oh my gosh, that's Robert Drummond, football player. But it's like, okay, wow, that guy's pretty cool. He's easy to talk to. He's nice. And then they find out my story of what I'm going through, and they respect me even more. Yeah. So it's like, be a bigger and better person. It's like, you know, all that, I get it. It hurts, it's painful, it's tough to deal with, but you know what? It makes you stronger to be a better person because that's what God looks for. God looks for the goodness in people, not the negative that can bring them down.
I mean, God looks for people that actually live in the image and likeness that we were made to be.
That's exactly what he looks for.
You know, it's how do you treat, you know, and I said at the end of my life, God, my currency is my soul. It's not my money, it's not how many interviews I did, it's not how many listeners I had or how many tweets and whatever. My currency is my soul, and he's going to look at me and say, how did you treat people? How did you treat others? How did you treat animals? How did you treat people? How did you treat yourself?
You'd be shocked.
And that's it.
At how many people don't get that.
But that's all it is.
Because, again,
that's how you get into the party. It's how you treat people.
Another thing with religion, especially Catholicism. Okay, I can go out there and be a bad person. As long as I go out there and be a bad person, what do I have to do to cleanse my soul? Go confess, right? And all of a sudden I'm a good person? No.
You gotta live it.
These people know that all you have to do is confess that they do something bad, and God, supposedly according to the Catholic religion, confession cleanses the soul and God's forgiven. It's like, no, you knew you were doing something bad in the beginning. The fact that you can sit there and go to confession and think you can cleanse your soul doesn't make it right. It's still wrong. You knew it was wrong in the beginning. I understand a mistake, but they do it over and over and over again. People use confession like it's change. You know, I did something bad, confess. Or I did something bad, confess. Or I did something bad, confess. It's like, if you go to confession, 20 times a month, you're a bad person. Holy smokes. Just do the right thing and be a good person. It ain't that hard. Holy smokes. I tell my kids that all the time. Just be a good person.
Well, and that's the thing is, true Catholicism is go to confession and stop doing it. And there's people that use it, and there's people that use it that make it. Because like I grew up Catholic, and I grew up with that. And there's people that go to church, and they're not even in the parking lot. They're talking about people they saw in man.
People use confession like it's a toll booth. Next.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is because we know that God is all forgiving. Yeah. So we think like if I do the same thing 500 times, like he'll forgive me.
Say that again. He's all what?
Forgiving.
Okay, but he's not all forgetting.
No, he's going to remember.
Yep.
So when you think about it in any relationship, would you keep
what is insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yep. So you keep doing the same thing over, thinking God's going to let you into heaven, right? Nope.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you think about God is who you're. God is the thing that you're supposed to love the most. As a friend, if I did something to you over and over and over again, going, well, Rob's forgiving, Rob's a nice guy,
That's
you're
not
not
a
going to
friend.
forget.
No, that's
right.
not a friend.
No, and that's the thing is, it only takes once you're disrespected by someone or you feel that person doesn't appreciate you. Like, it's funny how, I mean, I've had friendships of 10 years, 20 years, 3 years, 3 months. It doesn't matter. Once you go to a place
I know.
where you know that somebody just doesn't respect you, there's this thing that my brain and my heart does where it just says, I can go from like, I love you, I'll do anything for you, to I love you from a distance, but I hope you have a good life.
Like telling a friend that I've exhausted this friendship, I've gotten everything I needed out of you.
Yeah.
That's just like, that brings volumes in my ear.
Like, oh, you can't really take me any farther. And I was like, I didn't know I was on the video game when, like you level up and you have that. Like,
that brings me, regardless of me, I'm still friends with him, but it was like, that brings volumes in my ear of the character of that person.
Well, the thing is again, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And I had seen signs, but it's one of those things where you think like, wow, that's weird that this person does this and this person does that. But how many times have we said, like, you see something in somebody, but they don't do it to you? And then when they turn the gun toward you, you know that thing fires. I
mean, but the fact that I know that they haven't done it, and I know they won't do it to me, but the fact that I know what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So it keeps me on the defense.
Well, and the thing is, I've done that with family where I was like, wow, she seems pretty mean, and I see her firing her cannon, and I'm like, wow, that's not nice, but I don't really think about it. And then all of a sudden, she turned that cannon toward me.
Yep.
And then I'm like, well, why am I surprised? Like, I should have known this is who they are.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time. If you're around someone who's volatile, dramatic, stressful, it's only a matter of time before they take that knife and they cut you with it. It's only a matter of time.
That's human nature.
That's why we've been friends as long as we have been, because I don't see you do that to people, so I don't worry about you doing it to me.
No, I mean,
because if somebody's out there swinging, eventually it's going to hit you.
I tell people where they stand with me straight up from the first time I meet them. It's like, look, I mean, I have very, very few friends. I don't trust a lot of people. If you ever cross me, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and be violent and go at you, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to walk away because I don't need that in my life.
You do what I do. When you are kind of done dealing with a person, you don't yell, you don't scream.
No,
you're just silent. And that's the thing is, like, it's funny. If I sit in a car from when I was a kid, and my mom would be driving, and I'm there, and my friend's in the car, somebody in the car, and I wouldn't talk. My mom would look in the mirror and she'd go, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "What?" She goes, "You didn't talk in like the last 10 minutes." And I have friends that are like, in college and stuff, they're like, "You didn't talk, you didn't laugh in like the last 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We know that there's something wrong because you're always laughing, you're smiling, you're talking." So my silence is terrifying because it's my way of saying, I'm not going to disrespect you, you're a child of God.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to waste my time either.
Yeah.
And so if I don't reply, because the thing is, I pray for everybody. People hate my guts, I pray for them too. But I don't surround myself with those people.
I can't.
I wish the best.
I can't help it if anybody likes me or not.
I just wish them the best.
As I always say, that's their issue, not mine. I'm gonna go on.
You gotta waste that energy on me every day.
I don't waste my energy, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I don't waste my energy on useless people. And by useless, I mean people who just can't bring joy inside of me. I don't waste my time with them.
Again, if the message isn't to help me elevate my game, I don't need to hear it. If somebody wants me to score 0 points in a game, I don't need to talk to you. I want the people that are going to say to me, listen, I want people that want me to score 10 points, 20 points in a game, but I also want the people like yourself to say, hey, when you set up your shot, if you actually arc it a little bit, like I want that constructive thing where like some people tell me maybe try shooting this way. Maybe lift your feet a little bit more off the ground.
Try this. I just want you to do your best.
Right.
Go out there and give 110% effort.
Because everybody should eat.
At the end of the day,
you and I don't care when other people are successful.
I could care less. I mean,
as long as they're doing right by people.
I do care. I mean, because it feels good for me to cheer those who are going there and working hard at their trade and doing well.
We want to see people do
well. But even if you go out there and you don't happen to win, you don't happen to play well, it's a lesson learned because you can always build on a loss. You can't build on a victory. A victory is just like blah. I was like, okay, I won one. What's next? Applaud me. No, it's like okay. the next victory is going to be that much harder. Victories are so hard to come by.
Yeah.
People don't realize that losses are easy because it's a learning lesson. And my first Grey Cup in the CFL, we lost. And I remember just sitting there saying to myself, it's like, okay, I went through a game where in 1987, where we played our hearts out, we played our behinds off, and Auburn kicked the field goal to tie us, and it didn't feel like a loss, it didn't feel like a win, but we just felt numb. You know, it's just like, what did we even do this for? Why
it felt like the game didn't even happen because it was a tie.
So it taught me, the adversity of being able to go into championship games, or championship situations, and giving 110%, because the outcome, win or lose, is going to be a life lesson for you. And I said this to a couple of kids I was training the other day. It's like, you know what? Momo LeClaire, she's a basketball player who's headed to Drexel out of JD. I'm a legal basketball player, and Johnny Kibe, he's a lacrosse player. He's headed to Yale to play lacrosse for Yale. And I told them both, it's like, you know what, guys, do one favor with me, because lacrosse, Momo's done with basketball, but she's still training for it, and Johnny's playing his lacrosse season going on right now.
Yeah. And
I told them, do one thing for me right now. This was like on Sunday or Monday at practice, or I was training. Go into your next practice and give 110%, and tell me how you feel after that practice. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. Go and give 100. Listen to me. Give 110% in practice, and tell me how you feel after that practice. And they both came back and they're like, that was fun. I was like, exactly. It's like, what do you learn? That we're not going to die out there if we go out there, give it 110%, because we did it in practice, so it'll make the game easier. Boom, bingo. If you give 110% every single practice, you'll have the most fun you've ever had, especially playing the sport you love to play. So when the games come around, the games are easy.
Yeah.
They're easy.
Well, and the thing that's cool is, like, last night I'm on the phone and I was working on something, and I was trying to make a graphic and have music behind it, and I wanted this clock on it for this new thing I'm doing called On the Clock with Doc, and it's with Dr. Mark Petropoli, and it's when we talk about a lot of different things. Yeah, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics out in Skinny Atlas, and they've done a phenomenal job with me. And so I was putting this stuff together, so I'm on the phone, and she goes, so tell me, like, what went into doing that. And in my head, I don't even think about it. I told her the steps. I said, well, I had to go into this program. When I went into this program, I had to find the clock. I made the clock the O. Then I had to write the letters around it. Then I changed the script for where it says with Doc. And then I had to minimize it, bring it all together, put the other quotation mark here. And once I did all of that, I brought the music in. And then I had to screen record it, save it, send it to myself. And when I sent it to myself, I put it into my program and it worked. And she's just like, and in my head, that was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But she's like, you have to know what you're doing. You have to be passionate about it. People have no idea what goes into the preparation of, they just see, like, oh, you get to do what you love. And it's like, yeah, but doing what you love. Like, me as a boss, I'm like, I ask so much of myself.
Yeah.
The bosses I had combined in the world of broadcasting and all that, one boss was like, I don't care if you do a show. Another one was like, sports, whatever. Like, they didn't even listen. They didn't know it. They didn't understand it. My best boss that I had was the program manager. And because I remember what he taught me, I have a folder that has his notes for me of when I started my show. I still have those notes from 2008 when he said, I like your show. You did a good job. This is how you get better. And I still remember that when he's like, hey, during a show, make sure that every few minutes, not crazily, but that you say where you are, you say what the show is, you remind people where they're listening, how can they get in touch with you. Like, there's so much that's behind the scenes that nobody sees. I think it's kind of cool that we have green here because it's like a green screen. There's so much on the green screen.
That's funny. I thought when I first saw it, I was like, green screen.
But it's, you know what I mean? It's like there's so much in the lab. People see the finished product.
Yes.
They see what you become, but they don't. That's why when people ask me about numbers, about this, about money, and about that, and how do I get annoyed by it, not because I don't have evidence and substantiation, but this is why I do it. If it was you and me and I never interviewed any one of the other 2,000 people that have been on the show, my life is fruitful.
Yeah.
Because I believe that you and I together are what God intends, because we change lives. Like, we really genuinely care about people. So if God told me, you're going to talk to Rob and only Rob for the rest of your life, I'd be like, well, damn it, this is great. Because I'll tell you, and I never said this to you before, but I know you know it, we do so much together, more off the air than on the air, and we do so much on the air that I think about, and it humbles me, but I think about, like, the day that, like, what if there's a day that I'm here and you're not? Like, my heart already breaks for the fact of, like, of not being able to sit next to you, because this, to me, it's therapeutic, it's kind, it's friendship, it's beautiful, it's real, and some people see a guest as a guest. I see you as, like, a lifelong brother, somebody I'm committed to. And someone who I literally, like, on that list I could put in my pocket, be like, I'll take a bullet for this man, I'll take an axe for this guy. Like, if Hunger Games happened, I'd be on his back like Rocket Raccoon, just slaying people. Like, there's few people you do that for, but, like, I can't imagine a world without you. And those are the things that I clutch and I hold on to, are the people that I'm like, if all I had was Rob, would it be enough? And the answer is yes. Because I know that.
I mean, for me, I completely understand what you're saying, but I mean, again, because you don't have kids yet, and I do, and I always try and tell my sons, it's just that, you can't stress about, you can't worry about things you can't control.
Yeah.
All you can do is control the moment. And I'm not saying live for the moment, but all you really can do is just control the moment. So gravitate toward the people that are good to you, people that make you feel happy inside. Distance yourself from people that you feel angst to, or that make you feel bad inside. It's just, if I don't worry about living or dying, for the simple fact that, one day I'm going to die. I don't know when that time is. That's God's will. I could walk outside this building right now and just drop dead. But God wants me. My how I get through that is I tell myself God doesn't want me right now because He has so many things that I need to still do here on this planet. That He keeps giving me. He keeps. My day today started at 3:00 this morning. I've been doing, whether it be,
I was awake
on the computer, whether it be going out to the airport, whether it be, training my first people, teaching my Zoom classes, and I'll probably relax and lay down, at about 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
So it's just, but I don't worry about things like that, because I'm very, very thankful that, just to be given that time, because there are so many people out there that they didn't wake up today.
Yeah.
Yesterday was their last day, and God just wanted them.
And they had no idea.
So, and they had no idea, and so He took them. So I'm very fortunate and very blessed when I'm ever given a day to be able to go out there and do the things that I love to do. It's never worked for me because I love inspiring people to go out there and be better than I ever was. It may not be in football. It can be in music. It can be in medicine. It can be in art. It can be you can be a mechanic, you can be a teacher, whatever it may be. Just have a passion for what it is you love to do, and go out there and just try to be a good person and inspire others. All I want to do is inspire the next generation. For when I'm gone, so people can be like, that was a great person who really cared about others and inspired me to go out there and be great. And that's all I ever want to accomplish.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want people, when I'm done here and God takes me home, I don't want people to go, wow, he was a great man. I want people to be great people, and hopefully I imparted something on them. Like, if I'm a great man and I'm gone, and what did I do? If I'm a great man and I helped somebody to be better, then I did something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my legacy is not that I live a great life and I have fun. My legacy is that I live a great life and I have fun, and then other people pick it up. Like, I thought about that. My grandmother lived to be almost 101, G-Mama, and you know her. And, and I thought to myself, like, I have to carry that torch because she's gonna leave such a light's gonna be gone. And you know what I think now? I don't have to carry her torch.
Yeah.
That was hers. I have to carry mine. and her light isn't out. If anything, it got brighter because I remember her and I value her and I know what she taught me, and I think about her all the time, and I remember the things she said to me, and just how she said them to me a million times, and I never listened, and now I listen.
I mean, I understand that. I mean, it's just there's certain things that are important in life to you. There's certain things that are super important in life to you. I mean, I didn't say anything. Didn't say anything to anybody. I'm telling you now with the simple fact that, I mean, maybe it's a big deal. It's not a big deal to me. I got a call the other day from executives from the Canadian Football Hall of Fame that said that they're telling me that I'm on a short list now to get into the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame. And my response was, that's cool. Let me know when it happens.
That's awesome.
And
my butt's coming up there.
And then one executive was like, Robert, really? I was like, it's cool, but it's like, that's not why I didn't play the game of football for the awards. I played the game of football because I loved it. It was so much fun to me. And the fact that you want to honor me with an award, for being one of the best at it, that's cool, that's great. But it's like, it's not what defines me. The fact that, I define me, not some awards you can possibly give me or even put me in the Hall of Fame. That's cool, and I respect that, don't get me wrong, but it's not why I played the game. I played the game because I loved it.
Well, you care more about how you treat people,
yes,
as opposed to a plaque.
Yep, a plaque means absolutely nothing.
People that focus on the plaque, they forget where they come from.
The people who focus on the plaque forget the person.
Yeah. I would never want to be a coach where it's like, you want to win, but I don't want to be the coach that won a lot of games. I want to be the coach who, when my players have kids, they send me a picture of them in the hospital with their first son or daughter.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like Jimmer Sikowski, shout out to Jimmer at Chick-fil-A, Cicero and Clay. Jimmer, he just put up a thing yesterday where he was holding the baby of one of his workers, and this gets me really emotional. Jimmer has ALS.
Yeah,
and he he put that out there last week. We got to talk, and I love him. He is part of my family. I met him when he came here, basically, and it's one of those things like with you. You hope that you have the relationship that you think you have, and you know how you feel about somebody.
Yeah.
And then they tell you that they know it, and that they feel the same way, and that they love you, and that you do mean a lot to them, that you are family. So I ask that everybody that's watching, listening, and that watches or listens to this later on, say a prayer for Jimmer Sikowski, for his family, for anybody with ALS, and for everybody anywhere, because we're all dealing with something. So please just take the time, because I'm one of those crazy people that believes that prayer works and that you can find a cure for things, and I hope that they do.
I mean, my heart goes out to anybody who's dealing with any kind of ailment, whether it be from COVID to cancer, to diabetes, to ALS, which is Tim Green has also, to CTE, which many of my brethren have.
I just talked to Tony Dorsett, and he on the show, first time I ever talked to him, he said, "I'm sorry, my memory's not so good due to my CTE." Like, he said it. I didn't even, he just said it, and I was just, and his teammate was like, Al Romano, he was like, he said that, and I was like, yeah, he goes, good for him.
It's such a debilitating disease, but it's just, all you can ever do is pray and wish the best for him inside your heart. Mentally, it can be exhausting. It's just like I train a lot of kids, but it's like, it's been a blessing for me to be able to train my during this pandemic, to be able to train my family members. My younger cousin, I call him my baby cousin. He's not a baby, but he's my baby cousin. My younger cousin is Jaron, Jaron Buford. And it's just,
shout out to EJ too.
That's his knucklehead brother, my older brother. But it's just, and he doesn't say it. I have a funny relationship with all my cousins, because I know they see me as Robert Drummond, the football star, the former NFL player, things of that nature, but they also see me as just their cousin. So they just, so when
the guy who comes to the barbecue and tells jokes and eats ribs and has a good time.
I'm just, their father, which is the eldest cousin next to me, my cousin Eric. It's just that we just have a relationship where it's just like, it's not about me being, a football legend or anything in the city of Syracuse. It's just about me being just Robert.
Yeah.
You know, and I love being in a situation where I can always just be myself. And being around my family just allows me to be myself. I mean, they'll brag about it and they'll talk about the football things of that nature, but it's only to put themselves in a situation to be proud of me.
Jaren's on here right now too.
And I understand that and get that, but it's like it's just a love thing, you know. And they know I would do anything in the world for my family. It's just like, you know, I want to see him successful. So I mean, I push him to be better than I ever was, and in doing that, I still have to be the cousin, the big cousin, you know, because I'm the eldest statesman in my family right now. You know, so for me, so I was telling him, you want to get friends, who'll come out and say, you know, I'm going to give you all the knowledge I can so you can be successful, because I want to see you successful in life. You know, and if I can take all that I've learned in my soon to be 54 years of existence and have you smooth out those speed bumps and things of that nature just to be successful in life, that's what I'm going to do. You know, and I can sit here and name all the guys that I've sat here and trained, you know, from day one to Tyler Kavanaugh, you know, to Micah, you know, to, oh my gosh, I mean, I can go on and on and on about the athletes that I've trained that are now doing successful things. And at the end of the day, they always tell me, not only did you train us to be successful in sports, you trained us to be successful in life. You told us all the pitfalls that were going to happen, so we knew what was going to happen before it got there. It's like, I know, because I lived it.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it's just been a blessing, and it's just been fun to be able to go in there and show them, you got to eat this way, you got to lift this way, you got to run this way, you got to do this. You know, I mapped it out. I gave them an outline to be successful in sports, you know, but that outline also is an outline to be successful in life. You know, and at any given day, they know it's just, I'm a phone call away, or I'm a text message away, you know, and it's just, I love the fact that I can just be myself around my family, because sometimes you just want to hide away from being Robert Drummond. You know, I mean, I don't want to be the football player. You know, it's just like, that's not who I am. I'm so much more than that. I'm an intellect. You know, I'm a parent. You know, I'm a guardian. You know, I'm a big brother to my sister. You know, I'm a big cousin. You know, so I'm so much more than that. That's just a facade.
You're a dog dad, bro.
That's what people see me as. And even working with Deion Maddox right now up at Syracuse, I'm going to make sure Deion's successful with seeing all the athletes from Central New York, whether it be Deion's just in football, but I want to make sure all the basketball players, all the lacrosse players, all the soccer players, all the volleyball players, all the softball players, all have an opportunity to be successful, whether it be at Syracuse, which I would love to see, but any college of their choice. I want to put Syracuse in a position to be on the map, to be a recognized place of getting athletes like myself, Scott Swades, you know, Chris Gedney, you know, on and on and on. You know, Mike Hart, Latavius Murray, Dorsey Levens, you know, they can go on and on with the names of athletes that are talented athletes that came out of here that were successful at the next level. We have the talent here. We've just been forgotten, but it's time for us to get back to that center stage.
You know, and you and I talked about it, and we've talked about it forever, and the importance of two things that seem normal but haven't happened, and that is to reach out to your alumni because they're the best people to sell your product because they're the ones that bought it, and to reach out to the community and stop telling us that there's no talented athletes in Central New York.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You know, I get it, because they took a lull and they stopped taking athletes from Syracuse who've gone on to be successful other places. But you know what? It's just Syracuse took a chance on me, and wow, look what happened. Syracuse took a chance on Scott Swades, and wow, look what happened. Syracuse took a chance on Chris Gedney, Tim Green, you know, Chris Ingram. I can go on and on and on about the athletes. But Syracuse took a chance on that, where not only excelled but made it to that next level. High draft picks also.
Yeah.
So Syracuse is very, very talented. They just have to understand that. We're gonna get back to that point. You know, I feel it in my bones. You know, and with Deion Maddox at the helm, you know, working it, I think Syracuse is gonna be surprised in the next few years.
Well, you know, and that's the hope. You know, the hope is that bringing in Deion for high school relations and involving him in the community, involving him with, you know, having an alum come in so he automatically bridges the gap that, you know, for all these years, for as dark as it's gotten, as quiet as it's gotten, as much as the alumni feel like they've been left in a tunnel and there's no candle.
That's an understatement.
You know, I know. Deion can bridge that gap just by calling his friends, calling his teammates, calling his brothers.
That's the first thing he did when he got the job.
It's legitimately.
You hear what I just said?
Yeah, it's the
That's
first
thing he did when he got the job.
It's the easiest thing to do, Hi, everyone that I played with and talked to. I would love for you guys to be a part of the program.
Or
again.
former brethren of Syracuse that made this a powerful program that was dominant back in the 80s and 90s.
Easiest thing in the world to do is to hire somebody to reach out to your alumni who's an alumni. And on top of that, to care about the local community. When you say that you're going to see, this is the thing. You never say anything that you can't back up. And so if you don't know what you're talking about, don't say anything. But when it was said 2 seasons ago, we got our second bye week, and it was on Twitter, and it said, everybody look out, coaches coming to your Central and Upstate New York games. I said, no, they're not. No, they're not. Because I know the coaches, and I've sat in a room with the coaches, and I've heard the coaches say, you'd think that they'd show up for once, shake my hand, say hello, just like even if they don't want my kids to at least look at my kids, to at least let the kids know, what could they do better? How could they be better? To just say hello to me. The community is so angry, and the coaches are trying to the coaches are sending their kids to Colorado State and Buffalo and UConn and BC because Syracuse doesn't want them. And that's, it's heartbreaking because every kid that I've talked to in Central and Upstate New York, if Syracuse offered them, it's like a done deal. It's the easiest thing in the world. You find a talented kid. They reach out to somebody. Stevie Scott was clear to me. Servassier Dennis didn't get offered from here. Noah Jordan Williams, he got some love, and then he didn't get any love. And he looked at me. He looked around the room at the Section 3 event, and he said, "I can't wait to play Syracuse every year and beat them." You have a breed of children that have only known you and only worn your stuff and only gone to your dome. They love you. These children have been brought up to love Syracuse.
Not anymore.
And now they hate Syracuse.
They don't hate them.
Well, they don't hate them, but they spurned by them.
They don't know them.
Right. So it's like you built us up to, you build these kids up in the community that play football. And when they're playing football, they're envisioning themselves in orange and blue, and then orange and blue doesn't want them. So what do? They don't come, they don't play for you. They don't come back here. They don't build their families here. They don't build their businesses here because you hurt them, and they felt that was personal. So they don't come back. So you're hurting Rob. You're hurting me. You're hurting business owners all over the place. You're hurting our community because these kids fell. And not that every kid is going to go to Syracuse or that they have the talent that you want, but these kids were raised in an orange and blue home, and then orange and blue didn't offer them. And I have to talk to coaches on the phone saying, "This kid's got 17 offers. What's wrong with them?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, Syracuse didn't offer him, so Syracuse must know something about him." I'm like, "No, actually, they know less about him than you do."
It's just there's no connection between the city of Syracuse and the university. Absolutely zero connection between the university.
How weird is it that Boeheim gets it with basketball, but football doesn't get it?
There are people that will go to the game for the simple fact that there are 3 local kids on the team in Syracuse, regardless of whether they do well or not. They'll still support them because you felt it viable enough to still take from our own.
Yeah.
Take care of home.
You got Glens
first.
Falls and DeWitt.
Take care of homes first. I always take care of home first, And then it's interesting because I'm actually going to probably have, because of Dion, Babers wants to talk to some of the former players now that he says he wants to reach out to the alumni before.
Yeah.
And because I pull no punches with nobody.
Rob's going to walk through the door and say, "Why did it take you 6 years?"
My former teammates have been like, "Well, Robert, man, don't say nothing, man. That'll be nice." And I just started laughing. I was like, they're like, "Well, what are you going to say to him?" I was like, "I'm going to be, dead, honest, dead ass true." It's like, why did it take you 6 years, bro? For real.
So I said, the first thing you're going to say, why did it take so long?
I'm just being honest. It's like, for the simple fact that, it took you 6 years. Like, we want to help you. I got respect for you and everything. It's cool, you the coach here. But it's like, you'd be mad at me to ask you a question. You can give me another 6 years. It ain't going to hurt my legacy. It's not going to hurt me. But I just as a man need to know what took you so long. I sit here and watch these other, nationally ranked programs like Alabama. Always welcome their former players back. LSU always welcome their former players back. Tennessee, Clemson, Michigan, Ohio State. I can go on and on and on about these former powerhouses that welcome their former players back. Yeah. But you wanted to keep the players away and do it by yourself. I just want to know why. You know,
You and I aren't head coaches in D1, but we have PhDs
Bruh,
in common sense.
I just want to know why. What made you think that you could do this, but do this by yourself when you've got a bunch of guys out here who not only were ranked nationally high in the polls, but also got drafted high in the NFL draft. So you don't think your young men can learn from them? I mean, if someone offered me $1 billion to name another coach on the Syracuse University football staff besides Dino Babers, that'd be $1 billion I'd lose. I'd know none of them.
Well, and it changes every
Not
year.
one of them. I know Dino Babers. That's it.
But they're not allowed to speak to anybody.
That's it.
So that's
from going back, and it wasn't under was not under Babers. It was under Coach Schaefer at the time. To go back to celebrate a team that's one of the only 2 undefeated teams in the history of the school, and then to sit on the visitor side and not to be allowed in the Ernie Davis room. How disrespectful was that? That was the last game I attended in Syracuse, and the last game I will go to until we get a relationship back.
The thing is,
I refuse.
If you're not allowed in the Ernie Davis room as an alum, who is?
My damn pictures hanging in the damn period don't for goodness sake. Are you kidding me? It's insulting. You can only insult.
At least you're
somebody.
not Patrick Ewing when he walked into Madison Square Garden and they didn't know who he was.
You can only insult somebody enough to the simple fact that it said enough. And here's the thing: no matter what Syracuse does, it's not going to change who I am in the city. I'm still going to be Robert Drummond, the former football player, one of Syracuse's very own, and made it out. It did well at Syracuse.
Well, the thing is you can't say homegrown. You can't say homegrown talent anymore because they don't want you.
No.
Like, could you imagine if you had the staff now, you would have never come. You would have been at Penn State.
No, I 1,000% would have went to Penn State. That's the truth.
Right.
So me asking him a question is like, why you took it so long? I think it's an honest question.
The Elmira Express, Ernie Davis wouldn't have been here because they would have been in Elmira. They would have been looking in Florida.
I ain't gonna lie, because of Deion, I'm not gonna go off. I respect him so much. He set it up, so I'm not gonna abuse that trust I have in a former athlete.
But you're gonna be honest.
There are a few things I want to say, but I'm gonna bite my tongue. And leave it at that. But it's like if it's wrong. And I respect the fact.
But I think you're saying why now? That's not a bad question. Why now? 6 years later.
I know why. I just want to hear him say it.
You're not gonna say it.
Then that'll prove my point of what I thought all along. Then at some point, as grown men, regardless of who we are, we all have to drop this tough facade, this ego facade, this I'm better than you facade, and realize that we're all the same level. We all want the same thing. Does he not think the city of Syracuse wants to see him very successful? See college game day coming to Syracuse, see the top tier athletes coming to Syracuse, see our local talent going to Syracuse and being successful and going to the NFL and making our city proud. We want to make our city proud also, not just Syracuse University football and basketball and lacrosse, but we want to make the city of Syracuse successful also. And taking local athletes and having them go in there and do well makes us feel good about ourselves. It makes us, because I'm not a Syracuse University football player anymore. Now I'm talking as a parent and and someone who's a citizen of the city of Syracuse. So I want to see my city proud of someone on the football team. Name a player from Syracuse who's starting on the SU football team right now.
There's a name.
Name a player on the team.
Besides a walk-on, probably nobody.
Thank you. They're walk-ons. They're preferred walk-ons of our team at Syracuse right now.
Yeah.
That's my point.
And the thing is, the story that there is no talent in Central Upstate New York, it's not good enough for us to take. It's not good enough. I'm like, okay, well, one of them won a Super Bowl, another one's still playing in the NFL, another guy just got signed to the Saints. Like, how much do you need? How about this? How about this juxtaposition? How about this? How about how God works? Trail Williams, DB, Syracuse.
Where's he from?
Trail?
Yeah.
I believe Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he's from PA.
Yeah, he's from PA. So Trail's from Pennsylvania. So you got Nolan Cooney, punter.
Where's he from?
Signed by the Saints. Yeah, I honestly.
He's not from New York.
No.
Not from Syracuse.
No.
Andre Cisco.
Cisco's from Florida.
Yeah.
So.
And Iffy.
Yeah, and Iffy's from out of state, Midwest. So here's the thing. Trail, undrafted free agent, signed by the Saints. Nolan Cooney, undrafted free agent, signed by the Saints. God's irony, Stevie Scott, undrafted free agent, signed by the Saints. So Trail and Nolan didn't get to play with Stevie in Syracuse because there wasn't that love or whatever. And now they get to play together, and I just think it's funny how the Saints did what Syracuse didn't do, which was bring the talent from local and abroad and put it together. So now Stevie Scott can go up to Trill and Nolan and go, hey, you guys played for that team. Now we get to play for each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. And anybody that thinks that any one of those three guys is not going to bust their butt to make a 53-man roster is insane. You know what I mean? Like Stevie is a talented back. And I don't understand in what world they don't draft him, but you talk about a man putting that work in. He's going to put that work in.
I don't understand the parameters of what they look for. I mean, I know
the running backs. They think they don't need it.
The value of running backs has been devalued over the past few years.
Yeah.
So it's just But I know that young man's going to go out there and give you 110% every single time, every single play. So God.
But isn't it funny how they're teammates now?
As
From Syracuse, played at Syracuse, now they're teammates.
But you know what though? I mean, again, it's a Syracuse kid who everybody's cheering for in the city of Syracuse because we all want to see him do well. We all do because he's got nothing but love from the city of Syracuse. It's the same love I felt when I played at Syracuse in the Carrier Dome, walking to a packed Carrier Dome, all the fans cheering for you because you're a local kid. I was one of their own. Yeah. Stevie's one of our own, so we're always going to cheer for him. Now I have a love for the Saints. I got to cheer for the Saints now because we have a hometown kid playing for the Saints, and hometown kids are always going to get love.
Well, where's his family, Rob?
Here in Syracuse.
Where are his coaches?
From high school or college?
Yeah, from high school.
Oh, high school here in Syracuse, CBA.
Okay, where are his teachers?
Here in Syracuse.
Where are his friends that he grew up with?
Here in Syracuse.
So who was cheering for him?
The people of Syracuse.
So maybe that would have put some butts in the seats.
It's funny. I mean, I saw Stevie the other day at my knucklehead cousin Cameron. He's the loudest cousin in our family. He's a brother of EJ and Jaron. Cameron's so loud, but I mean, it's good. But actually, Micah was there because Cameron's good friend with Micah. And Stevie, Stevie was upstairs. I talked to him for a little bit, but it's just like, and I because they're like, we were in a room group together, so I didn't really want to talk to him one-on-one at that point now, so I wanted to hang out with Cameron and everything, but in my mind, I'm thinking, it's like, kid, you got the love, you got the blessings of a whole city behind you, and now imagine that blessing had he been there at Syracuse as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior, as a senior. You know how I know? I lived it. Every single day I would be down on myself. I wasn't doing well. I wasn't playing well. But then, I'd be there in practice. And when they actually allowed fans to come and watch our practices because they had nothing to hide because,
literally anyone.
We were nationally ranked. I would get down on myself and I would look up in the stands and I would see like 4 or 5 or 6 family members, and about 20 or 30 other fans just watching the practice, cheering me on. And it inspired me to go out there and understand that I wasn't just playing for myself. I was playing for an entire community that believed in me. I mean, people don't understand that as an athlete, when you have people believe in you, and understand that you're trying to go out there, and work your hardest just to be the best you can, it inspires you to do well. I make sure my baby cousin understands that I'm going to watch all of his games just to let him know what he's doing right and doing wrong. I'm going to be there to make sure that he's doing the right things to be successful. So
there's something about looking up in the stands.
Yeah, I saw the games. I watched all of his basketball games, watch all of his football games. I'm going to watch him, because I want to show him I support him.
Well, there's something about looking up in the stands and seeing people that love you.
Yeah.
And they're going to love you if you drop the pass or catch the pass.
Oh my God.
They're going to love you. They're not fair weather fans. They're your family. You said. When you go to barbecue, you just want to be Rob.
Yep.
That's the thing. And that's why we are the way we are on the air, because we're this way off the air.
Yeah.
We don't have a script. There's nothing written down. I don't know what the heck we're going to talk about until we turn. Rob is the easiest person to work with. I was so excited. 17 plus years into doing this, almost 18 years. I was so excited to get up this morning and come to Cafe Kubal because I love it here and I love Matt Goddard and what they're doing the thing. And I love the fact that they're expanding and everything they did. I love that. I love little things like getting myself a chai, and I love sitting and talking with you. Like in my head, I was like, getting up in the morning knowing I'm going to see Rob, these are the easiest shows in the world because there's so much on them, but it's just easy because it's real, it's family.
It's real.
You know what I mean? Because I am that person when you walk in the room and I'm like, man, you're crazy. You know what I mean? But that's what we do. We joke around, we have fun. This is real life, And when you show people real life, this crazy thing happens where people are like, wow, people care about each other. People can just do things. Like, I don't know if I've ever written anything down that we've talked about. Unless I'm like, oh, hey, Dan, remember you say, but because it's you and I, like, this is the greatest thing. To wake up this morning, be 35 years old and go, I get to talk to one of my best friends today. What are you going to talk about? I don't know, but I know you should listen. Yeah. I know you should watch it. Because if you miss it, you're going to have to go back and get it. But
I keep things real.
It's just fun.
I don't pull no punches. I don't have to pull any punches. But the simple fact is, I don't really care if anybody likes me or not. That's their issue, not mine. Right. You know what? All I have to do is go out there every single day and be the best father I can. Be the best brother I can. Be the best cousin I can. Just be the best person I can. And I'm cool with that. If you don't like me, just don't ever threaten me or my family, and I'm cool with it. I can walk away from anything or anybody with no problem. If you don't like me,
your opinions of me are none of my business.
It's none of mine. That's on you. As long as I go out there and I do the best things I possibly can to see my younger generation, especially my family, be successful. That's all I care about. The rest is just water under the dam.
And I should tell you something. I got this young man coming on the show next week. I don't know if you know him. You might have mentioned him, but I reached out, and Mr. Jeremy Buford's going to be on the show.
That's my baby cousin.
We got that. We got that set up. So
is he on there?
He was on here. Yeah.
Yo, Jay, make sure you wear a shirt. Boy, don't come in here with no shirt off. I know how you. That's all he do when we working out at his house. He always come down like he rocked up. He done got bigger, a lot bigger, but walking around with his shirt off and them tight shorts.
Well, my buddy, that's funny. I was talking to my buddy on the way here. Shout out to Matt. His little man Carson, one of my nephews, and my friends have made me an uncle 13 times.
Oh wow!
So talk about God giving you real brothers and sisters. Yeah. So because these are people that chose me. They're not my blood. They didn't have to have. They chose me, and not that you have to have that, but like. So one day, I didn't know, I have 11 nieces and nephews altogether, and I was talking to Matt, and Matt was talking to his son, and he said, Uncle Dan's on the phone. And I said, did I just hear you say Uncle Dan? And he's got another one on the way, hopefully tomorrow, and God bless. And so he's like, Uncle Dan's on the phone. I'm like, did you just call me Uncle Dan? He goes, yeah. I was like, for real? And he goes, yeah. I said, you meant it? He goes, yeah. I said, so I got him and the other boy to be. And he was like, yeah. And I said, hey, Carson, today we're on the phone on the way here. And Carson walked. He goes, my little buddy came in, and he's like, man, walked in here with no pants on, socks on. I was like, that's my dude. That's what I do around the house. I'm like, I tell people that all the time. I sit when I do the show in the studio. So I was like, joke's on y'all. I haven't worn pants for 17 years. But I was like, I love that as a kid. He's like, he walked in here, socks on, just chilling. I was like, good for you, Carson. Be you. Do your thing. But I mean, it is lightheartedness, like those conversations, like hearing my buddy Matt with his son come in, his 2-year-old son Carson, and just like the joy I could hear in Matt's voice of like, hey, little buddy, like that's what I live for. That's so cool to hear, and it's not even me. To hear somebody else be happy makes me more happy.
I mean, for me, especially with my baby cousin, because it's more personal with me because it's just because it is my baby cousin, for the simple fact that I remember when he was born, and just watching him and just growing up and babysitting him, and it's just I'm gonna watch his first interview for the simple fact of I know what's gonna happen, because I've been there before, and he's gonna fumble his words, he's not gonna know what to say, he's gonna be unsure, but you know what, and just like me, in that same instance, he's gonna learn from it. Yeah. So so as he goes on to be more spectacular and have a much better career, now when he has interviews, he'll get more comfortable, he'll get more used to it, he'll be able to like myself. Now I'm a pro at it. You put a mic in front of my face and it just rolls off my tongue. I'm a natural at it. But the first time I ever did one, holy smokes! In high school, it's just the words. You don't know how to find the words because there's a little bit of nervousness in front of the camera. So and that's what I want to get some of these younger athletes give them the ability to learn from the show to where they'll be able to come on, because there are some talented kids I told you that are coming up that are that I want to get on the show at some point.
Just you train them on the field and the court. I'll train them on the mic.
And I can tell them, it's just that you guys are especially talented kids, but it's not always just about your talent. Someone's gonna ask you one day, give an interview. and put a mic in front of your face, and
they're not going to be as kind as me.
No, they're going to ask you some questions that are tough questions. You know that they're going to twist your words. But it's better for them to learn that at an early age than a later age.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like not every person that played football and is humble and whatever like you.
No.
Not every broadcaster and journalist is going to tell the truth.
No.
And most of them will not. And so to me it's good. I mean I like that now. I like setting up a program where it's like you train them on the field in the court of life. I'll train them on the mic.
Yeah. I mean,
so then they're prepared to play and they're prepared to speak and handle it. Like because on the court, on the field, off the court, off the field, what they do here affects them. What they do there affects them because they can be the greatest player and then not handle themselves well, or they can handle themselves really well, but they don't put in the work. So I think we're onto something. I think we should do something with that.
And it's called professionalism because I've seen guys who are super talented guys, and I've seen them give their interviews, and I'm not joking. Yeah, cause I was out there, I was doing my thing, and my teammates was out, and I'm sitting there and I'm taking myself back, and I'm like, whoa. I hope you're successful in football because you ain't going nowhere and like player talking like that. It's like, I mean, it's just you don't have to be hardcore on camera, to personify an image. People. I mean, I tell a lot of athletes this all the time. Making yourself marketable can make you way more money than your athleticism ever can.
Do you want street cred or do you want to be successful?
Exactly. Street cred never earns anybody money.
But the thing is, who are you getting respect from if you have street cred? Are those people going to give you a job someday?
I don't know.
That's a merit?
You're preaching to the choir. You're absolutely right.
I'm just saying.
So sound educated, sound articulate, sound humble, sound respectful. Just sound like you're somebody going someplace in life.
Yeah.
Instead of man, it's like that's not what people are looking for. I can understand interjecting it into your sentences every once in a while, now and then, because I do it. But I'm also articulate and educated enough to where I can sit here and speak in sentences, to where from the simple fact that I had my own television show, not my own personally, but I was, on a Time Warner television show that did the SU pregame shows.
Yeah.
So that's. I mean, because of how I speak, on television and on the radio, that's how I got that gig. So it's always how you present yourself to people, that's going to attract them to you, that's going to give you more opportunities in life. As I said before, make yourself more marketable and you'll be successful.
Talking about a lot here on the show, here at Cafe Kubal, and we are at 343 Fayette Street, Manlius, New York. Rob trains literally right down the road. Rob, tell everybody where you're at because they should know.
I'm at the Y, and I'm in Manlius, and right now it's a little slow because everybody's afraid of COVID, which I understand. I expect, but I do a lot of training outside also because it's much safer to be outside, and it's just kids love just being outside and just being able to work and just understand what it takes to be. I mean, and I won't say a great athlete, because I can't make everybody a great athlete, but I can make you understand what it takes to become successful.
Right.
And it takes hard work, it takes commitment, it takes dedication, it takes work. It takes you doing the things you don't want to do. Say you have a party to go to, but you have to get this workout in before a game. Get your workout in first. The parties will come. These kids are young. You have a lifetime of being able to. Trust me, I lived it. You have a lifetime of being able to party. So
your priorities were crazy, man. I want to live. I can't even fathom that we were friends for like 5 or 6 years, and I'm on the phone with you, and I'm like, man, I love Boyz II Men, and you're like, oh man, Boyz II Men came to my party, and I was like, in what world do you not say that? I'm still waiting for Rob to make that phone call. Wanye, Nathan, Michael. If you can get Michael back, that's big, because that's that deep voice that got out of it.
Health reasons.
Sean,
why he left the group, yeah.
But it's like, I mean, this man, Wesley Snipes, Will Smith.
Yeah, but when you're living, I mean, as a rookie, I told you, it was a nightclub, Mahorns. It's since closed down, and they torn down that building where it was. I was down there.
Yeah.
Where my friend Jody's son's Hayden's bar mitzvah a few years ago, but when we drove past it, but it was torn down. I remember just being in Mahorns. I remember Jerome Brown, who was my next door neighbor. He remember be like, he's like, Rook, 'cause I was a rookie. Rook, we're throwing a party at your house tonight. So as a rookie, you can't say no to a veteran. So they're like, we'll handle security, we'll handle help, alcohol and everything. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, give me your keys. So I'm like, okay. So as a rookie, you have no choice. And I remember just leaving the club later, with my cousins, my other cousins now who are, and just going back to my house. And when I get to my house and there's cars everywhere, I'm like, oh my, the house is just packed. I remember walking into my own basement and I'm walking down the stairs and I see Will Smith and Wesley Snipes sitting on a couch in my house. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. They're like, this your house? This your house, Rook? And even the movie guys called this rookie. Like, yeah, it's like, nice house. I was like, wow. I was like, this is different. but it's like, and that's how it was all the time. I mean, I've met In Vogue, I've met LL Cool J. I mean, it's just, but you don't think about it like that, You just think about it, you're in a circle that just runs with people, that are like that. So, these are people who don't want to be bothered. They don't want you to be starstruck with them. They just want you to be the average person. So just have normal, average conversations with them. They'll treat you just like you treat them. Sound crazy, huh?
No, it sounds totally normal. I'm just sitting here wrapping my head around the fact that you were hanging out with Blade. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing is, like, when Blade comes back, he's talking about how, like, Wesley Snipes, I feel like, wants to. You know what in order to make it right, this is my thing, okay? This is how Marvel makes it right. It's like with Wonder Woman in DC when they got Gal Gadot and she did her movie, the girl that plays Wonder Woman now.
Oh, okay.
Gal Gadot. So they brought in the woman that originally played it and they gave her a role. When they do Blade with my new dude out here in Phase 5 or whatever it is, when they do Blade through Marvel, I want Wesley Snipes to appear in it. Somehow be the dad of I don't care. He just got to be in the movie somewhere because I love Blade.
Who's the new Blade?
Oh man, I forget the guy's. I know exactly what he looks like. You know what?
Michael Jai White?
No, he was in. Wait, what'd you say?
Michael Jai White?
No, but he played. Oh man, he was in Luke Cage. He was the villain in Luke Cage who had the Notorious B.I.G. poster.
The villain.
The guy that was like beating the heck out of the guy.
I know who played Luke Cage.
Not him.
Okay. Ooh.
Not that guy. The guy that was the villain.
I don't follow it that much.
Oh, I could legitimately draw you his picture right now. But yeah, so he's playing Blade, and forgive me for those of you I forgot his name, but I'll put it up. But yeah, so he's playing it, and I'm like, Wesley's got to be in it because this is my thing. I didn't know Ryan Reynolds, and then he was in Blade Trinity. I liked all the Blades. The second one. The first 5 minutes, like the mouth opening and like the acid and like the evolved vampires.
That was a bit much.
That was and like eating the person, them screaming and like the blood and then like and it's like that's the first like that's the intro scene and then it's like boom, Blade 2 and I was like, oh god, why am I watching this movie? So that got me, but I love and see here's the thing, Blade is directly connected to Spider-Man because Spider-Man's fighting Morbius, the living vampire, and Blade becomes Blade because Morbius bites him.
Oh, wow.
So, like, the fact that Sony's making Morbius and Spider-Man's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe means that Blade will probably come from that interaction.
Isn't there a movie out, a Morbius movie out right now?
And they keep pushing it back.
Oh, okay.
There's a Venom Carnage one coming out.
I saw the previews of that also.
You know that if I was on that movie, it would be done right. I'm hoping. Woody Harrelson playing Carnage. I like Woody Harrelson, but Carnage is a serial killer.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
And the wig was awful.
Well, he played that role in Californication or something like that. Or yeah. Woody Harrelson, he played that serial killer.
Yeah,
it's an old movie.
I can't see him as Carnage.
I just
Cletus Cassidy's like out of his mind.
Well, because of his role in Cheers, you can't take Woody Harrelson seriously. He's a jokester.
He's got to be a serial killer.
Well, he played like a dummy, on Cheers, and so whenever I see him now, he's always funny. I can't take him seriously.
But the guy that plays Bane is also there, or the guy that plays Venom is the guy that was Bane.
Oh, what's that actor's name?
He was also in Lawless with what's his face with Shia LaBeouf.
I didn't see that.
That's a good movie. It's about like making moonshine and stuff. It's cool.
That's it.
That's a good movie. Three brothers.
Last movie I saw was Mortal Kombat.
I did too. That's the last one. That's my favorite guy. I always tell people when I wear one, like certain masks that I wear, I look like Scorpion because my eyes and stuff. So I said, if my goal in life is to have like the woman in my life, for me to be like, get over here, and then like have her spin and do that. Dude, that was the last one I saw. Did you see it in the theaters? You watch it on HBO?
I watched it on my Fire Stick.
Shh, Rob didn't say that.
I watched a lot of movies on my Fire Stick.
You're like, Rob, did you see it in the theater? No, man, I watched it on my Fire Stick.
But I never really played fighter games or shooter games. I always played NCAA, and I would play against.
I love Mortal Kombat.
I would always play NCAA football, NCAA basketball, and Madden.
Yeah, that's all I played. And my parents like twice a year would let me rent Mortal Kombat 2.
And I would bust my cousins up because my cousin EJ was the only one who he was better than me at the game.
Yeah.
But I knew more about the game than him, so I could always beat him.
Yeah.
That used to frustrate the hell out of me.
So you saw Mortal Kombat?
I saw that. It was good. I liked it. It was good.
I thought that there wasn't a lot of, with all the time they spent on it, there wasn't a lot of story.
No, there was not.
You know, but the opening scene of the guy taking the spear and like just everybody's head coming off in the blood, I was like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be like that movie.
Well, they
smashing the head in and like
they set it up for
Jack's
season,
doing that
for the next because Johnny Cage wasn't in that, but you see that huge poster at the end.
Yeah,
it's got Johnny Cage.
Did you say that the reptile was an actual like giant iguana? Like that reptile normally looks like Sub-Zero.
I don't know nothing about Mortal Kombat. I told you. I mean, I just
Mortal Kombat.
I played it every once in a while, but it wasn't a game I was good at. So
I feel like if you and I were in the game right now, we would choose Scorpion and Sub-Zero, right?
No, who
would you be besides that?
I mean,
Jax.
There was no
the guy that bashed the head in. No,
there was one guy that always came. I mean, he was capoeira. He used to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But it was like probably like 3 or 4 seasons into Mortal Kombat that this guy came out.
Okay.
And I was always
Scorpion.
And he was like, what about the guy that would sit on his head and he would spin and his feet would kick you as he went down the line?
Sit on his hat.
On his head.
Oh, on his head.
He was a bald guy.
Liu Kang.
He was a bald guy. He had like the stuff around his neck and.
Oh, I'm not sure because Liu Kang was in this one. And then
they based this off the first one ever made.
Yeah, and then they had Raiden, who's the lightning guy.
Yeah.
But I was always, this is how well I know it, because I had Sega. So Sub-Zero.
I had Sega too.
Sub-Zero I could never figure out. Like you had to put your finger, you had to like roll the like up down thing and then hit BA or something like that. I was Scorpion. It was back B, baby. Back B. Get over here. Like that's all it was. I gotta rent that game again. I gotta go find that game. I might have that. I have the original X-Men game. I had the Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist.
I never played like games like that. I was all sports game.
Back B.
Baseball,
and people get so mad at me because I throw it at you, I pull you in, and I uppercut, and they're like, "Are you gonna do that the whole time?" I'm like, "I'm trying to murder you in this game." And the thing is, back in the day, like we knew it was fake, and it wasn't like Grand Theft Auto and stuff where you could like punch a grandmother in the face and steal somebody's car, and it was like all like real life crazy stuff. Right, like wait, what video game is like in what world are you just like, yo, I'm gonna go to the strip club tonight? Like this is why is that a game?
Then you come outside and you see a car moving, it's like, whoa, this is not a kid's game.
No, it's like in what world, like stealing cars, doing this stuff, like Mortal Kombat was fake.
Our world.
It was fake.
Yeah.
Like, you don't make games like that makes people, because the people, like, they watch it and they absorb it, and then they think they can go into society and steal a car and hit somebody and do crazy stuff and hurt people. That's great, kick out a walker. Like, that's disgusting and wrong, and you don't do that.
Only shooter game I ever played was Halo.
Yeah.
I was good at Halo.
I did not play as much as my roommates, so they would have me play so they could get their kills up. Because I didn't play that much.
See, now there's online stuff, and I ain't got time for that. I got too much I got to do. I got to get this next generation to the level past me. You know what I mean, man? Feel me?
Yeah.
Because in my retirement, I plan on
Games
going
are insane. They're so hard to play now, man.
I plan on video games, yeah, but I'm talking about
Really
real
are.
games. I plan on going to watch some sports games and some pro games, from
Yeah.
whether it be my family members or the kids I work with, So let's do this. Hey, you get him on the microphone. I get him on the sports field.
I like it.
Yes, honestly.
I love the fact that the last movie I saw was the last movie you saw. You're like, bro, I haven't seen a movie since Mortal Kombat. I was like, dude, I saw that right before I went to Florida. I went to the theater by myself and sat there and watched Mortal
What
Kombat.
theater did you go to?
The only one that's open, Movie Tavern.
Oh, I didn't know it was open.
Oh yeah, bro. I love Movie Tavern. See, but I have HBO Max, so this is the cool thing about it. After I watched Godzilla vs. Kong, I know what you got. But you still need to help a brother out. You don't even know. But so Godzilla vs. Kong, and the cool thing about it is I see it in the theater. I see Mortal Kombat in the theater. And then if I want to watch it again, if I want to do a show about it for Superpowered Pop, if there's something I missed, or if I liked it, or if I want to just give it another chance, I can watch it in the theater and literally go home or go on my phone, turn on HBO Max, and watch it 100 times.
I can sit home and watch it, and then if I went to Fire Stick, and then if I wanted to see it, watch it again, and to watch whenever I want.
Well, I do that too, but you didn't help me out. Again, you know Boys to Men, but you ain't make a phone call, and you know all about this Fire Stick, but you told me, this is what Rob told me, he goes, bro, it's easy. You didn't tell me how, you just said, bro, it's easy.
I mean, all you gotta do is go online.
I want to see where you did it.
Jailbreak. I did it years ago, so it's probably.
I want to know. You go to the people that you trust to figure things out that know stuff.
I'm not technologically sound. I mean, whenever I want to find out something, I either go to YouTube or Google.
I love how one time the phone company that I have told me that they couldn't fix my phone or turn it back on. I went on YouTube, and this kid in his house taught me how to fix my phone in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you, y'all. Appreciate it. They're like, no, we can't turn your phone back on. I'm like, well, this random dude in Wyoming taught me how to do it.
Not shocked.
So, Mr. Drummond, final piece. Hot seat. Rapid fire. 3 questions for you, 3 questions for me. We can ask each other anything in the world. I'm going to let you go first. By the way, we're at Cafe Kubal, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. The giant behemoth of a building. We're upstairs. We're actually overlooking the cafe. There's upstairs seating here. There's a kitchen. There's downstairs seating. It's a giant, you can't miss it. It's where all the roads converge into Manlius. It's basically like a welcome building to Manlius. And it looks like, with the brown design and the stripes, it actually looks like coffee coming out of the actual coffee maker. So come out to Cafe Kubal, all the locations in Syracuse, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital, and of course in these neck of the woods in beautiful Manlius. So, rapid fire. You can go first.
What would I ask you? All right, I have one.
Okay.
If you could, from any era in time, be the color commentator for a sporting event, which sporting event would it be?
I
know what mine would be.
You know what? On a very personal level, it's the first one of any of my teams that I ever saw win any championships. And I do say we because I consider myself part of it. I care about the team. And so in 2001, I would have loved to have done the World Series between the Diamondbacks and the Yankees when my Diamondbacks won. I would say that I would also like to bring the Sandlot to real life and be able to commentate that final piece when he gets to play in the majors. And I'm going to pick one more. I would say I would have liked to have been the commentator when Syracuse football won a national championship.
That's interesting. That's respectable. All right. Another question, almost on that same platform.
Okay.
If you were a coach, what coach or what player would you have loved to coach out of all the players you've known over the past, from Jackie Robinson to Jim Brown to Floyd Little, and why?
Who would I have liked to coach if I could coach anybody? I would say, talking to you, talking to Randy Etzel, I would have loved, and I'm not saying this because of our relationship, I would have liked to have coached you. I would have liked to be on the other side of it because I met you after. So I would love to have coached you, just to get a feel for that because of the type of person I know that you are. And I never forgot that you said, go back and watch my film. If I was in the open field and I was outrunning everybody, I would slow down just so I could stiff arm somebody.
Make a big price. The next time they want to tackle you, that's just who I was. That was my mindset.
So I would say it'd be cool to coach you. I would also say I'd want to coach Michael Jordan. I'd love to do that. And, I would probably want to coach. Honestly, I keep going back to the same era for football or baseball. I would want to coach at a time where there were race relations, and I would want to be one of the coaches that brought on players of color and stood up for them and led the charge of equality. So whether it's Jackie Robinson or Ernie Davis or Jim Brown or any of that, I would have been in a world, because I always said I would never be a defense lawyer unless I was Atticus Finch, and I got to be a defense lawyer in To Kill a Mockingbird times. I would have done it then, because back then there was nobody to represent African Americans because it was career suicide, and you lost every case. So I think that I would love to, more than anything else, I would love to have been a head coach at a time where there was segregation and I was working against it.
Okay. Respectable. Another respectable answer.
Because I love Remember the Titans too.
Yeah, I remember that. One of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I always do that. Left side, strong side. I love it. And they hit each other. I love that.
All right, and final question.
Who's on my left? I got you.
If you were given the distinction of supplying the 33rd NFL team, in which city would you locate that team and why?
Great question. I would look in a couple areas. I would look at Toronto because it's been proven that, I talk to Leo Rounds about it all the time. Toronto is one of the best places for attendance for basketball, and nobody talks about it because, basically, this is what I said was great. Toronto games are not played on television, and I love the fact that they won a championship because I'm a fan from day zero when the logo came out. But I was like, they have no choice in the playoffs. They have to show our games. Yeah. So the way that you make the United States show your games is keep winning. I was like, y'all are forced to show it. And they put this game here and they put this game there, and it was harder to see this and harder to see that. But the closer and closer they got to a championship, they're on ESPN, they're on ABC. So I say, we force them to show the games. I would say Toronto I would definitely look at. I would look at St. Louis because I was in St. Louis when they lost the Rams, and I said it's like this couple had broken up, but the guy hadn't picked up all their stuff yet. Mm-hmm. So the stadium was empty, but the banners were still up. Mm-hmm. So it was so surreal. So I would go to St. Louis, I would go to Toronto, or I would look at putting a team in. I want to think about some of the places I've been. I would consider putting a team in, maybe putting a team in South Carolina, because they have Clemson, they have the South Carolina Gamecocks. Maybe they could do something there. Go to a place where there is an avid fan base and do something like that. But a knee-jerk reaction is Toronto and St. Louis.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'd say Toronto and St. Louis, and I'd go back to San Diego.
But yeah, that's it. That's true. So San Diego, yeah. I've been told San Diego. My buddy lives out there. Shout out to Donald Godwin. He told me, he was like, if there's any place close to actual utopia, where it never rains and it's always perfect. It's 70 something degrees. It's sunny. It could be on the pier. He just said, it's the closest thing to utopia.
All right, your turn.
Okay. Good questions. Okay, so if you
Me? No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm joking.
if you could spend a day in the life of any comedian, living or deceased,
Ooh.
who would you spend a day in the life of and why?
Wow. That's an interesting question.
You and I like the same people too. So.
You know what? It would be a two-part question for the same reasons. I'd love to spend a day with Richard Pryor, and I'd love to spend a day with Red Fox. You know, for the simple fact that they were coming up in comedy.
Yeah.
You know, in an era when so much in comedy was so new, and they were such trailblazers, setting the pace, or setting the scale for what comedians go through now. And just to see what they went through, their humble beginnings, and how Richard Pryor, when he came up, and the movie Stir Crazy, it was one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up, and it's just how, as a black actor, as a black comedian, to get an acting role and be able to do so great in that movie, and then even Red Fox, in his movies with Eddie Murphy, and Harlem Nights and things of that nature. It's just that they always interest me, how they got their humble beginnings, and how they paved the way for all the comedians, all the comedians and actors today. So definitely those two.
I like it. I can appreciate that. Second question. If you could have one statement reach everyone in the world right now, simultaneously, you could only say one thing. You could type out one sentence, no matter how long it is. You could type out one sentence, and everyone would have that text message on their phone instantaneously. What would you say?
Oh, wow. How would I word it? Failure is not an option, it's a choice. It's a choice. You choose to fail. People who get knocked down, that don't get back up, it's their choice not to get back up. So you choose to lay down, you choose to fail, so don't blame anybody else.
Failure is not an option, it's a choice. I like that.
Truth.
I would like that text message. Very awesome. My last question is, if, knowing our friendship and our bond and the relationship we have, if I told you to plan out a day for us to enjoy and we could go anywhere and do anything, where would we go? What would we do?
You know what? Honestly, I'd want to do something that neither of us know a lot about, because we both know about like so many things. So it would give us more adventure from the simple fact of just being able to talk about something that's new, because we always talk about things that we know. Our whole life has been sports, been new girls, and me, Trish, so it's been things that we know. So I'd love to have a day of to where it's like I don't know a lot about fishing. I don't know about a lot about being on the water, and that's something we never talk about. So it'd be something new and something cool that we actually can go in and do it, just to find out, how this is, or go to a soccer match. I know a lot about soccer, but I've never really been to soccer matches, to see the complexity of the game, because we both have minds where we break down and we analyze everything that's in front of us and try and figure it out. We both have the type of minds where we try to see the good and try and see the positivity in what it is we're trying to analyze. So fishing would definitely be one, because I've always thought, I don't want to hunt, because I don't believe in hunting for, just for the sport of hunting. I don't think it's a sport. I think hunting is a necessity. Don't get me wrong, I love venison, but if we're gonna hunt deer, hunt it to kill it, and eat it. It's because it's you don't hunt just to kill something, then just leave it. You hunt to kill it, to consume it. So I definitely say fishing, just on like, and I don't mean like just like regular bass fishing. I mean like big, like deep sea fishing. We're catching like tunas that are like tons of pounds, because it's something that I always thought about, but I don't know anything about it. And I always love being challenged.
No, I like that because I used to like going fishing as a kid.
Yeah, I did too.
I haven't been fishing in forever.
It's been so long. I don't know if I can put the worm in the hook now.
But yeah, no, I would love that.
Yeah.
And a soccer match, I mean, we would have to like go to England
Yeah.
and like have like
Yeah.
a real,
Yeah.
because you're right.
The experience.
We want to experience and break
it's
it all
different.
down.
I mean, it's just like their soccer over there is way bigger than football over here, or just as big. It's huge over there.
It's real deal. And yeah, so we would like I just feel like we would have to be in the stands,
Yes.
just trying to get it, you know,
Yes.
like trying to understand it and like get around it and whatnot. So yeah, I like that. We'll start the day deep sea fishing, and we'll go to a soccer game after.
Chelsea versus Manchester.
Yeah, there's a Manchester United, yeah, and all that stuff. So Manchester City, but yeah, we'll go see. There's actually a Liverpool over there.
Yeah,
too.
I knew that. I knew Liverpool.
So we'll go do that, Rob and I, and yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Be cool.
it'll be cool.
All right, we're going fishing and we're going to a soccer game in England. Be ready, folks. They'll be here on Facebook Live. So for now, on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, this has been Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live inside of Cafe Kubal on 343 Fayette Street, Manlius. All of their locations, 3501 James Street in Syracuse, as well as 401 South Salina Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, where Cafe Kubal Co-Works is, or you can rent out a space for your business upstairs from the cafe. There's a podcasting headquarters. You can actually have some service done for you with your podcast and with the show you're putting together. So a great place for that, all in Syracuse and inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital. And thank you to Golisano for all you do for the kids, and how much people don't even know that those people working 25 hours a day to get a cup of coffee amidst everything that they're doing goes a long way, and it means a lot to do a little thing for yourself or for somebody else. So for Rob Drummond, who did play in Syracuse, the CFL and the NFL, but who is and will always be one of my closest friends, one of the best people I know. So for that, for Rob, for myself, Dan Tortora, this is Wake Up Call every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com, as well as on our social media at WakeUpCallDT on Facebook, at CallDT on Twitter, and at WakeUpCall_DT on Instagram. As I always leave you, and this would be my text message: God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk with you soon. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it.